So imagine if there's a Git repository that's already hosted online. You can get to the Git repository, and you want to bring that into Visual Studio. How do you do that? So let's take a look at the something simple, the HelloWorld.net program. If I go to that repository, there's nothing much to it. There's a Hello World application. Here's the HTTPS, the the link where this is hosted. I'm going to copy that on my clipboard, cut back over to Studio, and the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have the right plugin selected for source control. It's the Microsoft Git Provider. This Git source control provider, that one stinks. I didn't like that at all. The interface was pretty terrible. I downloaded the Microsoft Git Provider. I gave instructions on the wiki of where that exists, and that's what I'm going to use. So let me give that one an OK. I didn't change anything. It was set to Git Provider. So now I have to download my my new repository. In other words, I don't have the code on my machine. I want to pull it from my machine. I don't want to create a new project and import the thing, and that's a pain. So let me do a clone of the repository. So all I did was go to Team, connect to Team Foundation Server. Now I'm not using Team Foundation Server. I'm going to be using the Git. I don't have Team Foundation Server connected to this machine anyway. So if I want Team Foundation Server is like a really integrated build machine slash source control slash everything. Don't worry about Team Foundation Server. But anyway, to get to this screen, go to Team Foundation Server. The local Git repositories, I'm going to say clone. And I'm just going to paste in that URL from the website. I click clone, and it is going to go. It's going out and pretty much doing a git. And there it is. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this. My Git settings. These are my correct Git settings. Okay, very cool. So let's open this guy up. See what happens. So there's Hello World, and this was what was Git. This was what was pulled down. A little concerned I don't have a solution with this, but no worries. I can open up the project file. And where is the project file? There it is. Here's helloworld.vbproj. Usually these things come with a solution. The solution is it's like a grouping of project files. You can have more than one solution. Excuse me, more than one project file in a given app. So this thing is doing its thing. I'll pause this while this is running. Sorry about that. I paused it because I want to make sure that I'm not holding you hostage here waiting for a project to load. So here he is. It's loaded. If I give it a shot to run, see what happens. Got an error. What's my errors? Let's see. All kinds of errors. Okay, let's see. Usually when you see errors like this, I'm looking at the bundles collection. This is a telltale of a solution file missing. Remember I said before that I'm curious if there wasn't a solution file. It created a solution file for me when I downloaded this. The solution file could have references like this bundles. It looks like a namespace that was not included. Don't worry about this part. So the point wasn't to get the thing that actually worked. It was to pull the source code and clone the repository without having to recreate the project. What I expected to see in that repository is a solution file, and the solution file having all those hooks correct. This one was pretty good. Let's see if I can do a different one in a second. See if I can get the thing to work as expected. If I go out and say, give me my sample class library, let me look at all my repositories. Vaulty I already have attached. Sample class library, class project. I think that sample class library was. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'll see that SLN. That's my solution file. So let me take this. I'll copy it. I'll go back over here. I'm going to close this solution. I'm not going to save it. I'll go back to team, connective team foundation server again. I'm opening this up so you can see it. I'm going to clone that repository and give it a clone. It's thinking. These things are unbelievably quick. So here's my sample class library. And let me go back and open this guy up. Open project solution. And it should be under sample class library, which wasn't there. I like that better. There's my solution. So if I open this guy up, it takes a second or two. It's loading. And sure enough, let's give it a build. See if I can build this thing. And yay, 2 succeeded. Okay, so now let's try this. Let's see what happens if I run it. You can't start that directly. You have to start the actual. Okay, you have to right click and say set as startup app. A startup project, excuse me. I forget what this does, but I think it does the. Yeah, this was what I did before with. Yeah, it's checking to see. It's creating different classes of people and so forth. So it did what it was supposed to do. You know what I'm going to do is give it a comment and check it in and show you how to do that since we're sitting here anyway. So I'm going to go into the student and I'm going to say, I'm not actually changing the code if you can notice. I'm going to say this is a comment. Now it will take that as a change even though I didn't change any code. It's still a change. See the little checkbox, excuse me, is ready to be committed. God knows why that was sitting there doing its thing. Okay, so that's ready to be committed. Let me right click the project at the top and click commit. It's going to sense any changes. Let's take a look at the check-in dealie. If I had excluded changes or included changes, it only changed one thing, so it's an included change. I'm going to give it a comment and say I've added a comment. Now when I commit this, it's going to save it first. When I commit it, it committed to my local. It didn't push it to the server. So what I'm going to do is go to sync, and then I can either do a fetch or a pull. I'm sorry, I can either do a push or a pull. If I do a pull, I'm going to pull back. I'm going to do basically a get. In other words, I'm going to overwrite my changes with what's on the server. I don't want to do that. I want to push. So I'm going to push it. It says it's pushed. Terrific. Remember that was in CLS student. Let's go back on the web to see if that actually took. It's not under help. Sorry, excuse me. It's under. Is it under my customer app? My project? Are you gonna make me look? This was under class library. It was under class library help. Okay, class library help. CLS student. There we go. I've added a comment. You saw that check-in, and there is. This is a comment. So if I go back to this guy, the check-in message that I added, there's the check-in message. Pretty cool stuff. I was able to do a clone, which I didn't have to create the project myself by hand. I was able to sync my repository locally, make a change, check it in locally, push it to the server. We'll deal with merges and all that stuff later. In other words, if two people push two things at the same time. But this is like a sort of a single user, single person working on it. There probably won't be conflicts. There will be conflicts in this class because we'll be talking about 29 people working on 29 different things potentially. Excellent. Thank you very much. See ya.